Guthrie for
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Turner, Mr. Markey's questioning established that you're here on behalf of the consumer. Do you think that the web content should also be regulated, or do you think it's sufficient that just the internet providers are regulated?
Well, we come at this from a perspective of economics. I'm sure Dr. Greenstein can speak to this. There are tremendous fixed costs to providing broadband networks. There are very high switching costs for consumers in those markets. There is nothing preventing a consumer going one click away to another website. So I think they exist in different markets. That's not to say there isn't problems with market power in those markets, but I don't think that the FCC, in the context of its authority over communication by wire or radio, should really be the ones looking at that. But certainly we would welcome Congress.
So they shouldn't address that market power in that place, that one has more than the other.
Well, again, there potentially is market power in the search markets, but it's not the same from a consumer perspective in terms of switching costs, nor from the barriers to entry for other competitors to come in. If you have a good idea for a search algorithm, it's very easy for you to start a search engine today. It's not the same for someone to go build a network next to AT&T's.
Okay, thanks. And I guess, and Mr. Ciccone, or Dr. Korvax, you said it was going to be more difficult for capital for people to enter the market because of this rule. Now, would that affect AT&T and Mr. Ciccone more, or would it affect Mr. DeReggie and his smaller business more?
It would affect smaller businesses more, obviously. And
obviously, I knew that too. I just want to get the answer.
No, but I also, if you'll allow me just to comment on switching costs, if it is that easy for anyone to enter the search business, why have companies like Microsoft, for example, not been able, or Yahoo, not been able to very effectively challenge Google?
Mm-hmm. That's a fair point. That's what I was getting at as well. Thank you so much. And then, Mr. Ciccone, I know Mr. Shimkus asked, we've used the word uncertainty, I don't know how many times here today. I still haven't figured out, in the marketplace, and you said this brought certainty to business. What in the marketplace was there uncertainty about? I know in general there's uncertainty in the marketplace, but what in the marketplace did this rule bring certainty to your business?
Well, I think, Mr. Guthrie, the uncertainty that was roiling these markets was largely a result of the prospect of pretty heavy-handed regulation by the FCC to implement net neutrality. They had a notice of proposed rulemaking out there in the fall of 2009 that was very specific and very onerous, and that was followed by a proposal that was laid out in the spring of last year that was even more onerous and heavy-handed.
But there wasn't something in the marketplace they were trying to solve that's real, a real problem in the marketplace today they were trying to solve?
Well,
if you don't want to go there, that's okay. That's okay.
I think it is fair to say that the uncertainty that's been created over years of this debate, and I think we should stress that the debate over net neutrality and the authority the FCC should have in this area didn't just start in January of 2009. It's been going on for 5 or 6 years. It got worse in 2009 and 2010, but we do feel that this rule addresses much of the uncertainty that debate helped cause.
Unless the new FCC wants to go further, if it's not settled. Mr. Greenstein, you said, what was the number you said, 70 to 90 cents of every dollar? Is that the gross profit?
That's
what you were
gross
saying?
margin.
Gross profit in typical internet service providers, is that what you're saying?
Gross. So that doesn't account for...
I know, it's gross profit. Now, when you said that, Mr. DeReggie, you were shaking your head no. And why were you shaking your head no?
I just wish and dream that I could have those type of profit margins.
Well, gross profit. Is your gross profit not that high as well?
No, gross profit is not that high. That would barely, revenue barely covers the antenna co-location costs, let alone a profit. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get legal and pay permit fees. No, I don't think so. Some business models may have those costs, but all WIFs aren't uniform. There's different costs to provide service at different places in the country.
Thank you. And Mr. Greenstein, that number.
I mean, I just got this from UBS and from Craig Moffett at Bernstein. I mean, these are authorities in this. I'm just quoting somebody else.
Okay.
And I think it's largely for wireline ISP, so that's quite different than his business.
Okay. I just want to establish that. And Ms. Korvac, Dr. Korvac, I'm sorry.
Not to get arcane, but he's talking about gross margin, which is when you've removed only some part of the network
variable
cost, and then there's a huge amount of other costs that has to be covered. So again, net income is in the 5 to 10% range,
So, yeah,
which
that
is what goes back to the shareholders.
That income's what you have to go to your investors with, isn't it?
That's what goes back
Thanks.
to your investors. Exactly.
I yield back.
Thank you, gentleman's time has expired. To recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Bilbray, for 5 minutes.